Good evening and welcome to the school committee meeting of Monday, September 9th. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move on to the acceptance of the minutes for the meeting of June 24th.
August 9th.
I know, I just was flipping, I'm like, that's not right, okay.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes for August 19th.
Second?
All those in favor? That's a vote. Nothing under audience, we'll move to reports. Monthly reports for pupil personnel services with Dr. Miniglia.
Motion to approve.
And second?
All those in favor? Under financial reports, we have one for Rockland High School and the Rogers Middle School.
Motion to approve 2 financial reports.
And 2 seconds.
All those in favor? And under school newsletters, we have Phelps, the middle school, the high school, and Eston Early Childhood Center. Any questions or comments with the newsletter?
Oh, they were well done.
Very well done.
Yes,
Yes,
well done.
always. Thank you. Under old business, we have the FY25 reappropriation. Jane?
All right, thank you. This is going to be coming up on the screen from the control room momentarily for you and the viewers at home. So the state budget process lags behind the local municipal budget process, and the state just finished up their budget process a few weeks ago. And as we were going through the process, Dr. Carn and I working with Doug Lapp at Town Hall, he said if additional Chapter 70 money came in, that it would come to the school department. That has come true, and we have a net increase of $192,621 through the Chapter 70 increase and less net expenses through the Chapter 70. So the selectmen voted to open the warrant for an annual for a special town meeting in November, and one of the items on the agenda will be for the school department to receive this supplemental appropriation. Therefore, we need to revote our budget because the numbers are new.
Okay.
And so what this is tonight is just a very quick overview, and it's really quite simple, because we received $192,621 additional money in town aid that shows under the difference column. And this is the difference from what you voted in March to what I'm requesting that you vote this evening. So we received $192,000. We are not increasing our budget by $192,000. What we're doing with that money is minimizing our utilization of non-recurring revenue in an effort to build a more sustainable budget. So you'll see in red in the difference column that we are reducing our utilization of circuit breaker and revolving by an even amount, $96,311 each. Any savings that we have throughout the remainder of this year is going to also go towards declining, reducing these 2 lines.
Okay.
Okay? So then, that's the revenue side. On the expense side, the lower column, now that our job eliminations have been completed and that resulted in multiple bumping rights for individuals and then unfortunately ultimately layoffs, we are able at this time to reduce our salary line by an additional $116,093. The SPED contracts have mostly come in. We're about 90% we've received for our out-of-district contracts for the current year, and this incorporates the unilateral state increase of 16% last year and 4% this year. And we're able to reduce our out-of-district by $283,936,000. And then we went out to bid on all of our out-of-district routes. For every student that is receiving out-of-district transportation, we solicited quotes, and were able to reduce that line by $155,072. As we all spoke about in March, we had underfunded our expense line. And we were concerned about that. And initially, we thought any additional revenue we were going to get was going to have to go to the expense line and would have to increase our budget. That's not the case because of the job reductions and the out-of-district reductions. So we're going to put that money into the expense line to maintain an even budget, still remaining at $35,931,362. On the second page is a further breakdown in detail of our expenses. And what we wanted to highlight to you tonight is this shows our FY23 audited amounts. Every year, we have an audit after our books close through the auditing firm hired by the town. This is after we complete our end-of-the-year report. For FY23, these are all of our final audited numbers. There were no findings found by the auditing group. These are accurate numbers, and these break it down by salary, out-of-district tuition, transportation, sped transportation, homeless transportation, foster transportation expenses, extracurricular, and substitutes. Then I have the current proposed line for the current year, as we just went over. And what this shows is that over the last 2 years, from FY23, FY24, and now proposed for FY25, our salaries as a district have only gone up by $649,324. That's only a 2.5% increase in the district's total salary costs in 2 years, or a 1.25 average of salary increase over 2 years. However, our out-of-district tuition and our specialized transportation for sped, homeless, and foster during that same period has gone up by $2.2 million. All right, so $650,000 for salaries and $2.2 million for out-of-district and specialized transportation. Now, the town has worked with us to help us fund that through the utilization of free cash, and we've also reduced our workforce by over 30 bodies to accommodate this reality. So that's the backup detail to the expenses that are on the first that are on the first page.
Can I just say a couple things? First, the slide that you're looking at here, I'm sort of trying to read this on behalf of a townsperson who may be watching. It's important to look at the total number at the top. The salary line is 70+% of our overall expenditures. Keeping control of that number is very, very important. So anyone who lives in the finance world will hone in on what is the big number, because the percentage increases can be a little confusing. 461% for a rise in homeless transportation, but you're also talking about a $69,000 line item. So the percentage increase, a 2.5 percentage increase on our salaries, is something that we've worked very, very hard at, and unfortunately has come also on the backs of doing some cutting. The previous slide, I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. Some of the bid process work that went on. Noel, I know personally, worked on that bid process for transportation to save us about $160,000. Jane and the rest of the team, with those other reductions, have done some real rubber hitting the road kind of work to make sure that our pencils are as sharp as possible in all those line items. So I just want to say thank you to the team. But to the public, when you're looking at this slide, really focus in on the cost of our salaries, and because that is our biggest number, and keeping control of that is very, very important to any, whether it's a municipal or a business or anything like that. So I just wanted to add that 2 cents.
And we're working very hard during the course of this year to really manage and make sure we're realizing absolutely every savings that we can, especially in the transportation realm.
And how are we doing on subs this year? Last year, we had an astronomically high long-term sub rate.
Yeah. Subs are interesting, very similar to a police or a fire department. The salary and the subline, it's almost like they're overtime.
Right.
The fewer bodies we have in the building to cover a class, we don't have as many paras now.
Right.
to cover if a teacher is out, so we have to hire
you
a
need a
sub,
sub,
rather
right.
than paying a differential. So,
Right.
sort of the salary in the sub line, as the salary line goes down and there are fewer bodies, you'll see the sub line.
Subline go up.
You'll see the
Right.
sub line go up, just like overtime and in
Exactly.
salary, because you have to have that classroom filled.
Right.
So we have to bring somebody in, and we don't have as many people,
back
hands
up.
on deck,
Right.
Yeah.
to cover that classroom without having an additional cost. We also did have an extraordinary number of long-term subs last year to cover for maternity and paternity leaves. However, that's still trending.
I think
in
that was,
direction.
last year was historic. I've never,
It was historic, but we do have
yeah,
a
the
number of notices.
maternities and, yeah,
We do have a number of notices already
Already.
for the current year. So
very healthy staff.
Well, that's good.
that's right. So even though our budget line is not increasing, it's the same as it was. We're not increasing our budget because of the difference in the reallocations and the reappropriations between this. It still does require a public vote of the school committee,
Right.
but it does not require a public hearing.
Okay. And then I just wanted to say this, I think I say this every time we talk about homeless and any of that stuff in transportation. This does not include the days in. This is...
Comfort in, yeah.
Comfort in.
Comfort is a very
This
small
is-
portion of
right.
our specialized transportation costs, and there is state reimbursement for those costs, and that's actually accounted for in the revenue sheet under the LEAF grants.
Okay.
Is part of that 400,000 is money that we receive from the state for reimbursement for costs incurred as a result of the Comfort Inn.
Okay, perfect. Any questions besides me just shooting them out there?
I was just going to say, I would just like to recognize the Bridges program that was started
Yes.
last year, because I'm sure that that has contributed to the ability to decrease the line item for the sped out-of-district tuition.
It has.
And we owe a great deal of gratitude to Dr. Harrison and his team that created that program to keep our students here in Rockland.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Right.
good point.
Anyone else?
Not on the budget numbers, but I did have a question. I know it's early, we're only in our third week of school. Have any of the schools felt any real hard impacts over the people we had to let go? Have we, is it been a struggle? I know it's really early
It's very early. It's
to
a valid
understand
question.
how those 30 positions really impact across the district, especially for folks listening at home or really maybe even feeling that within their students' classroom.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Well, I will say, the way we handled the reduction was an art, not a science. And in the end, there were very few actual layoffs because of that. Between retirements and moving things around and sliding people around, most people retained their jobs. That said, yeah, we're tight at Eston with coverages for various places around the building. I think it's very early to see as far as how staff will affect. My concerns are generally pre-vacations, pre-summer, when kids get very active and are we able to keep the culture and the climate of the building
Right.
safe and
No snow days.
yeah, so I think time will tell on that. But it's been a very good opening, and the climate in the buildings is extraordinary right now.
And I will say that of, the people who unfortunately were, laid off, that most, not all, but most have found employment elsewhere.
Yeah, with few exceptions.
But there are, a few exceptions, but of the people that were laid off, most have found employment elsewhere.
A lot of very thoughtful, professional work by Betsy in our office, by our entire office, by the principals, and so we're trying to handle each of those cases, with dignity and professionalism, and
Right.
help people as much as we possibly can. But there are it's tough. And these are people who have worked for us. I think of a couple that pop into my mind who worked for us for 25 years who no longer have a job.
Right.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
Right. Tough
But
for you to
we
even
have
talk
to
to
make,
them,
you have to
tough
make
for them.
difficult decisions, right? When someone says, "How can you let me go?" We have to let something go. We have to let something go. So it was a very difficult year. on that front. But
Yeah, I will say that
proud of how we handled it.
this current year, I am very confident with our ability on where we're tracking financially for the current fiscal year. And as, time, unfolds, we'll have, once we have our enrollment number from October 1st, and then we'll wait and see what the state comes out for next year.
Okay.
But for next year, I'm confident with the budget that's before you, that we can afford what's on our plate
Right now.
right now.
And it also, it's an opportunity to be grateful for the fact that we have such a good working relationship with the town. They had a tough year too, and so budgets have been tight statewide, across the country, but statewide and here in Rockland, and we've worked very, very well together. I think we're getting the budget process started a little earlier this year. We're having good conversations with the people who are decision makers, and we're trying to describe and educate what's going on in the schools. I feel like we're in a very, very good place. Like Jane said, we feel good about this year, but we're really thinking ahead. We're 26, and
Correct.
I do not want to see us have to lay off again. I'm concerned that you can only cut so far before
Correct.
safety becomes an issue.
Right.
Not to mention student achievement. So
Exactly. We're here for education.
yeah,
you
but-
know.
Correct, and I will say, even though we have realized these 30 position reductions, our budget did go up, our funding from the town did go up from last year to this year, from fiscal '24 to fiscal '25. We did receive a budget increase. I believe it's up to it's approximately 4.1 currently, but it's really those costs that we highlighted on the second page that's driving the, it's unanticipated, it's an industry spike.
Correct.
We're hoping we're at a peak and that it's going to stabilize and come down, but, the town did not cut our funding from one year to the next. It's just the allocation of our costs in one area of our budget has just skyrocketed, which is not uncommon, within the education industry.
Right, right.
Yeah, the state hands out a 14.6% raise to out-of-district placements. We're the ones paying the bill.
Exactly. You're right.
And we can only raise taxes by 2.5%, so therein lies the dilemma.
Right.
And costs, as everyone knows, you go to the store and you see it. I complained about my trip to CVS yesterday to everybody who will listen.
Right, and just the cost of paper.
I just can't believe the order.
the
What
inflation-
happened? It's toothpaste. I
No
don't know what happened.
extra Yeah.
Right?
No, but inflation
I'm not
hits
organized enough for that.
Inflation hit school paper.
Yeah.
Right.
Inflation hit all of our,
Everything.
schools, it hit all
Pencils,
town halls.
everything. Yeah.
Supply lines. Municipalities and school districts and other school departments aren't immune to that reality.
Right. Gas in the vans.
Correct.
I was going to say, so I know that we had to make changes to the middle school foreign language department and what we could offer kids. Were there any other programs that we had to adjust, or AP classes that we had to cut, or things of that nature? Just
Sure.
To follow up on Jamie's question.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we don't have a construction technology teacher anymore. The wood shop is vacant. There are vacancies throughout. I'd say the program of studies did not take a large hit. We tried to maintain the integrity of all of our programs, but absolutely. I mean, this district needs to expand its world language offerings. We need 7th and 8th graders to have access to a full year of foreign language before they reach the high school. That's a goal of mine, of ours, I think. So to take a sort of step back almost for a year is very difficult to swallow. And it's as you can imagine, it's not as easy as just cutting. There's real people involved, right? And there's various talent levels that you're trying to maintain. So it really is sort of an art. And again, a lot of work, a lot of meetings, a lot of conversations, very difficult conversations between folks in our office and the principals and staff, people making job changes, moving from being an interventionist to now being a classroom teacher. So yeah, there have definitely been changes, but I would say overall, the integrity of our programs, high school program of studies included, was we really did a nice job maintaining it overall. But we don't have a woodshop teacher this year. It's horrible. We have a beautiful woodshop down there, and he did great work with our kids, and he's not there. That's just one example.
I think it's important to highlight that, you know, as you said, being able to, you know, maintain the academic achievement, but all of the courses of study, right? And I think Ms. Maroney has said multiple times that, you know, we take care of kids in Rockland and we keep them in Rockland, and we're here for every one of our children. And so not being able to offer those things is important. And while you guys have done a great job with the budget, that's not what this is about. It's just making sure that everybody is aware that our students are facing real impacts and real decrease in options, just in order to keep the doors open, the lights on, and everything going. So.
And everyone's safe.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
What I am thankful for here and grateful is the team that we have in our schools, and we talk about budget cuts and we talk about safety and things like that, but we have a huge team that is strong out there, that is doing the best that they can with whatever they can, and we are lucky that that's what we have here in Rockland, that they want our kids to do well. It's in their passion to make sure that our kids are going forward, so
Yeah.
we're lucky for that. I believe in that. I believe in them. We need a vote on this if we have no other questions. Comments?
Motion to approve the FY 2025
Reappropriation.
reappropriation.
Second.
All those in favor? That's a vote. Okay. We'll move on to an update for Phelps Elementary School. Do you have anything?
I have nothing this evening.
Nothing. Have we talked about the snack shack, though? If people,
I keep getting compliments
It's
on it,
pretty
how
cool.
beautiful it is, the
Yeah,
snack
Mark-
shack.
Mark keeps saying something about theft of the gold copper thing at the top. I don't know if he borrowed it from another town or just the idea, but we've got to find out what he's talking about there. But it looks great, doesn't it?
Is it copper? It's not,
What do they call it?
it's a cupola.
Yeah, but
Isn't it a cupola?
what do they make that out of, though? It's cool looking. It's like brass and gold.
It must be,
It's fancy.
Like a weather vane?
Yeah, like the weather vane thing.
it must be copper.
What do they call it? Copper? I don't know.
I don't
I'm
know.
not a
Here we are. We're educators, but we don't know what's on top of
I'm sure
the snack
you
shack.
and the public are very surprised. I'm not a handy guy. But I just think it's beautiful. And Mark did a great job.
We were just at the field, Jamie and I, and for varsity soccer, and that's what people kept complimenting.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful field. Look at the snack shack. Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, the building
So,
committee
yeah.
did a great job.
Good job. All right. So no updates. We'll move on to new business, fundraising requests. Okay, here we go. New form again. I'm going to try to master this. Request for, in daycare, catalog online sales for Kringle candles, September 23rd to October 11th.
Motion to approve?
And second.
All those in favor? Do you want me to just rattle through them?
Sure.
Okay. Under National Junior Honor Society School Supply Drive, September 11th through September 30th. For the High School Student Council, Rockland Walks for Jimmy Fund, students sell T-shirts to raise money for the Jimmy Fund. October 6th is when the walk is. Also, under Student Council, Elf on the Shelf students post in cafe pictures of staff in elf costumes. The staff member who gets the most votes needs to be the elf for the day. Oh, I like this. December 2nd to December 20th. A Student Council again. Candygrams, students sell lollipops for each other for Valentine's Day, January 27th to February 11th. Student Council, Shake Your Tail Feather. Students sell feathers to put on a turkey with teacher faces. The teacher with the most feathers dresses as a turkey. 11/11 to 11/22. Student Council for the Polar Plunge. Students take a plunge to raise money for Special Olympics. February 6th. God bless you. Class of 2026, a Chipotle night in Hanover to raise money for the class of 2026 will be on September 25th. Class advisors for 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028. Shirts for pep rally, each grade will be selling from September 1st to October 15th. The Student Council for a SNAP raise for students use online platform to raise money, August 20th to September 20th. And boys soccer snap raise, students use an online platform to raise money, September 10th. And one more, girls soccer snap raise, students use online platform to raise money, August 30th to September 30th.
11 motions to approve.
And 11 seconds.
All those in favor? That's a vote. And then,
I was just going to say, the polar plunge, this will be the second year, and it is so fun. My son did it last year with the wrestling team, and I think it was a great fundraiser that they had out there. And hopefully it gets a little more publicity, and invite all of the community to come watch the kids jump into basically a container full of ice-cold water in February. It was very cool. And maybe Colin, I don't know if you did it last year.
going in, Colin?
It was like, how are we doing a polar plunge in the, front of the high school? And it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to call that one out, as is some of the other ones, dressing up as an elf in a turkey.
I think
That
the
could be cool.
feathers sounds like the feathers from MP days.
Yes.
All right. And then under completed, we have for our own team here at WRPStival. I said it right this time. Scholarship concert fundraiser raised $2,774. So congratulations to the team here on raising some funds. And that is that. Go back over here. The 2024 Apple Awards for the Rockland Public Schools. I wanted to read these names out. An Apple Award is a legit Apple Award that teachers, faculty that have been here for so many years of service receive on the very first day at opening convocation. So I wanted to read these teachers' names because I was astounded sitting in the audience that day on how long people have actually worked here. And when I talk about our team, this is who brings it to the table. So, bear with me. Stephen Casagrande, RHS math teacher, 27 years. Joan Costello, RMS social study teacher, 25 years. Karen Duffy, Phelps grade 4 teacher, 26 years. Brenda Elfman, speech therapist, 25 years. Cheryl Shipper, RHS principal, 25 years. Janet Tate, daycare director, 25 years. Those people got red marble apples. These people get gold apples. Carol Hawking, sped teacher, 30 years. Maureen Clark, RMS paraprofessional, 30 years. And the following get white gold apples. Maureen Barrett, preschool teacher, 35 years. Fred Damon, RHS Dean of Students, 35 years. Diane Hayes, Phelps literacy teacher, 36 years. Pam Sheridan, Phelps grade 2 teacher, 36 years. And finally, Mary Scapoletti House, RMS math teacher, 43 years. So kudos, I just want to applaud you all. Thank you for your years of service here. We really appreciate you. And then we'll go on to you, Dr. Cron, for your superintendent's report.
Thank you. I'll be relatively brief. School's open. Yes, since our last meeting, on Wednesday, the 28th, we opened grades 1 through 12. And last week, on the 4th, we opened the kindergarten and preschool. And the openings have been extraordinary, the open houses, seeing the preschool and kindergarten teachers, students come in the day before opening to do the walkthrough and try out the bus and look at their cubbies, and it was really unbelievable. But the energy in the buildings is phenomenal. Michelle Shifley and the team at Phelps is doing just a great job cranking things up over at the Phelps. Rich McAllister at the middle school has hit the ground running, and our new principal there, and Cheryl Shipper at the high school and her team are doing a phenomenal job. Hats off again. It's easy to forget them because they run year-round, but hats off to Janet Tate and the daycare for the extraordinary work that they do to support all of our folks. So a very, very strong opening of school. We had a special event last week when class of 2015 alum Megan Kang who is now a world-famous professional golfer. And I am proud to say that I got to be her high school principal back in 2012 and 13 and 14, and have very fond memories of meeting with her and her father, and who came in and sat down with me and said, and basically were letting me know, Megan's a little different than most of the students, and she's going to be traveling around the world all year, and I hope we can work this out. And we have worked it out. We worked it out, and she is killing it on the tour. And she donated the coolest golf cart I have ever seen in my life to the school. I have heard all kinds of crazy amounts, so we'll just say it's probably very expensive. But we had a great time with that out in front of the high school last week. And so thank you very much to Megan. That was a blast. And then final piece of news, which I think is a great piece of news, but trying to stay very level about this. We have had some movement in the daycare process, and wanted to keep everyone updated. The town, as you know, currently, the daycare and I keep saying youth commission, but recreation department share the McKinley building. And the plan was for the recreation department to rent space on the VFW Parkway. That deal has been dissolved, and I sent a letter today to Rockland daycare families announcing some things that the town hasn't really announced yet, but we've done it in coordination, so I'm trying not to step on anyone's toes, but I would just read the letter. So I'm writing you ahead of tonight's meeting of the Rockland School Committee with some substantial news regarding the future of Rockland Daycare. Last week, the Rockland Select Board decided against relocating the Rockland Recreation Department to a site on VFW Parkway. They have decided instead to pursue a move for both the Rockland Daycare and the Rockland Recreation Department to the Eston School property. The preliminary plan involves purchasing a modular structure that would include 6 classrooms, 3 offices, and a meeting break room. By relocating Rockland Rec and to the Eston School, the Rec Department will now be able to access Eston playgrounds, learning spaces, and gymnasium during non-school hours. But most important to the public and to daycare families, because I know this has been, the primary concern, is change to the timeline because of this. We can now slow down as a town, and we are, instead of being worried about being done at the McKinley at the end of this school year, we can now publicly say that it is going to most likely go beyond the end of this school year. In fact, I would speculate that we may be there for another 2 years if the building holds up. So I wrote, as the plan to relocate both the Rockland Daycare and the Recreation Department to Eston evolves, we are now planning that the Rockland Daycare will remain at McKinley beyond the end of this school year. So we are working collaboratively with the town to extend the life of the aging McKinley building through this transition period. So I'm hoping that daycare families feel a little sense of relief, that the end of this year does not mark what are we going to do. We now have a plan as a town, between a cooperative plan between the schools and the town that I'm personally very excited about. I think a lot of people are very excited about it. It just seems to make sense. Great use of town property and town resources. So that I am happy to report this evening, and we'll keep everyone up to date as this moves forward.
Okay.
Yes.
Quick question. In our last meeting, we voted to appropriate funds to do the feasibility study.
Yes.
Is that still hold true, or is that now part of something joint with the town?
So we voted, we didn't vote, well, go ahead.
All right, we voted to request money
Right.
from the
Request
town.
money, okay.
To request money from the town, and that's one of the next steps that we're going to be, parsing out, is whether or not that money will still be needed to come from free cash, or whether some existing articles can be reappropriated towards this, but that's decisions and...
So we might be
Yeah,
re-voting
down
on
the
something
line
else
to-
and
yeah,
down the
we'll
line when
follow
we figure
the-
that out.
the lead of
Okay.
the
Yeah, I
town
just
on-
wanted, in case people were wondering, I think was it $100,000 or something
Yeah.
like that?
Yes, we
To do-
requested $100,000 for full engineering design services, and we may or may not need to go forward with that full request. We'll certainly speak to Doug Lapp and FinCom about that, but we have proceeded, and we did sign the contract for $3,500 to do the survey, the site survey work. and we're funding that through the daycare account. So the
'Cause it is for the
first
daycare.
step is to have a property line delineation, and that work is proceeding.
Okay. So that's what I was just going to add to it, is that we're saying that the daycare isn't moving and that we have time, but we're also saying that it's not getting kicked down, the road for another, time. This is just now us taking our time to go through all the proper steps and get us up and running the right way, financially and physically. So it's not something that we're just passing down the line to other people to deal with. It's still us, we're still excited about it, and we still want it to come out of McKinley and land at the Eston.
Then it'll have a permanent home.
Correct. And then it won't be always a problem.
Yep.
Any other questions on that?
Has the size increased since we've added the rec department to the,
Currently, what
Modulars.
we're looking at is the addition of 2 offices to what we had proposed to just take what's going on at the daycare at McKinley now and move it over. It would be the 6 classrooms and 1 office. Now adding rec, it adds 2 additional offices and a meeting room to it. So it's not a huge addition. But we met over there with Jean Blaney and her team, and we looked at common spaces and talked about, possibilities and times that we can work together so that they can carry out all of what they want to do,
because most of the
during
rec
non-school
programs
hours.
are after school hours
Right.
anyways, so
Right.
it does make sense. It just, will they be in there like at night rearranging the daycare setup, and then
Well,
the next morning the daycare staff come in and it's all?
Oh, you mean, no.
Like,
Within-
will they be using their will the rec department be using the 6 classrooms
They're-
at night?
I don't think so.
They'll be
I
using
don't,
Eston, the actual building.
inside the school.
Yes,
And
and
the gym.
possibly other locations.
Right.
It's rather, that's, and we're not looking to profit by any stretch of the imagination, but we're not looking for them to pay high rent to utilize our structures.
Right.
That would just be counterintuitive.
Right.
No, but making our school space available for them to use after hours.
Okay.
Is what we're doing, not using the daycare space after hours, but using the school space
Okay.
after hours, but having their offices
In the new.
In the modular,
in the new module.
Yeah.
The plan is to just replicate what exists, not to expand the daycare. We're just looking to replicate the 6 classrooms that we currently have with an office and a break room, and then add in offices for recreation.
Okay.
And of course, bathrooms, and
Yeah.
things that are
Regular
required.
things.
Things that are, that are required, and to maintain EEC compliance.
Okay.
Anything else? No? Any more from you, Dr. Carr?
No,
That was
just
all you
very
had?
exciting.
Very exciting.
Well, I will say, it's important to me, and I keep saying it, that I do not want this to balloon into something larger than what we're talking about.
Correct.
We're talking about replicating the services that we currently offer. This is not going to blow up and become a $10 million situation.
No.
And at least that, I would hate to see that happen. The town has many priorities, and we are not looking to be a distraction from the other priorities that the town has, but just to maintain these very important services for both the youth. And it's not just the youth. I mean, our senior citizens, I know when we were doing the Phelps project, we were very excited about the proximity to the senior center and the walking paths. And so I'd love this to become an opportunity where we're utilizing the Phelps School for our senior citizens, and we have more pickleball opportunities and things that they're excited about, and walking, and just ways to better utilize and share our spaces. So it's very exciting, but I do understand sometimes these projects, how many classrooms? 6? Well, let's add a couple more. Well, let's add, let's keep it simple and small for now, and we can always expand, but it's pretty exciting.
It is exciting.
Pretty exciting.
I think I just want to thank your team and Town Hall, because I know how important the daycare is to so many people in this town, and a lot of it being our staff. And good childcare is always anxiety provoking to families with young ones. And when we talk about inflation and how it affects our budget, it certainly affects everybody's budget, especially when it comes to daycare. So I think this development just reflects really nice teamwork, and so just a big shout out to everybody for making that happen and for understanding the needs of so many in our district.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all you had?
That's all I have.
You
Thank
need
you.
to stop, yeah.
Nope.
All right. I'm going to start with, for our public service announcements, I'm going to welcome our new student representative, Colin McKenna. We're happy to have you. He's a senior here at Rockland High School, and will you be brave enough and tell us a little bit about yourself? You're on Student Government Council.
Yeah, I'm the Vice President of the Student Government Council, and I'm a senior. I'm also the President of the National Honor Society.
Okay, excellent. Congratulations.
And a soccer player.
And a soccer player, and just an all-around good guy, and we're happy to have you. So I won't put you on the spot more than that, but I will say to you, when you are coming back each time, we do have this opportunity to speak, so if you do want to bring something to the table to add for our service announcement, you certainly can, what's happening with any of the things that you're involved in or in the high school, okay? That's your time to talk. So if the kids are saying, say this, you can say it as long as it's appropriate. But I trust you. And thank you, welcome. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then I'll move to my ladies here. We'll start with you, Dr. Small, on the end there.
So this Friday is the high school football opener, so very exciting about that. There's also a fundraiser for signing up littles to cheer with the Rockland High School cheerleaders, so if anybody is interested in that, there's a post on the Rockland Moms page. And it's cold and flu season, so as a pediatrician, I have to remind you, when your kids are sick, take care of them first, stay in touch with the school nurse. If they have fevers, please keep them home. And flu vaccines are available. Feel free to reach out to your local pediatrician or pharmacy to get that done.
Great, thank you. Ms. Hennessy?
Well, I don't have the pediatrician hat, but I will put the fall athletic booster hat on. So following on, just good luck to all the fall athletes. A lot of great stuff happening with cross country and soccer and volleyball. And the football team has had a one away game, but their first home opener is this Friday at 7, so come. It's not a new concession stand, but the concession stand in the stadium will be open, so come join us, and it's a great community event, so just call that out. Thank you.
Thank you. Em?
I have nothing for tonight.
All right. Ms. Bissonnette?
I have nothing. I'm just so proud to see Colin.
All right, and I had Megan, I had Colin, but I also had the Phelps Pack. Their first meeting is September 10th from 6 to 7 in the library. They're rotating each month, I think, one at night and one during the day. So if I see it, I'll try to remember and bring it and write it down for you all to hear. I want to shout out, as PAC moms here, all of us that have been involved in the schools. It is a lot of work to be volunteering for our kids and do sort of those extracurricular fun things. So if you have the time, certainly reach out and see how you can help them. We appreciate that, too. And that's all I had.
All right, motion to adjourn?
And second.
All those in favor? That's a wrap. Thank you.
Thank you.